Very hard to beat magic or mentalism with borrowed objects. And one of the things most people have on them is some coins. They've got some coins. So over the years, I've tried to develop a whole bunch of cool tricks, really impossible moments involving borrowed coins. Chris, I know we had the pizza, you got a bunch of change in your pocket. Here's what I want to do. I'm going to tell you right now, I made a prediction. I made a prediction. It's in my pocket. And the prediction I made involves a coin. I made a prediction with a coin. Now that got one coin from me. I need a coin from you. So I want you to reach in your pocket, Chris. I want you to, you got a whole bunch of change in there. I want you to grab one. You can change your mind. I don't care what you hand me, but I want you to hand me one coin. What do you got? Doesn't matter.
This one.
Okay, so let it be known. Chris handed me a quarter, okay? Now I've got my prediction here. Here, in this envelope, okay, I want you to see here. Got a couple of things inside the envelope. First, I said I had, I'm going to put this down the table here. First, I said I made a prediction of a coin, and I did. Inside the envelope, I had a dime, folded piece of paper, and people can examine my hands. They can examine the envelope. They'll see there's absolutely nothing else involved here. Try to be as fair as I can. And Chris, again, could have handed me literally any coin, okay? Any coin he wanted. Now, some people might think, well, your prediction missed. Your prediction involved a dime. And in fact, Chris randomly hands you a quarter. But there's two things you need to know at this point. First, my folded piece of paper inside here, prediction from the very beginning, actually reads a quarter and a dime. So I was able to predict exactly what we would be left with. But the really cool part, which makes this prediction really crazy, is that you guys on YouTube can't see this, but if you were to look at the date of the quarter Chris handed me and the date on my dime prediction, you would see that these two coins are the exact same date as well. Now, when I said in the presentation here, when I said they can hand you any coin, any coin from their pocket, that's mostly true. What I mean by that is, so for example, here in Canada, we don't have pennies anymore in circulation, but you can still find occasional one kicking around. But you don't want a penny. Here in Canada, I work with nickel, dime, quarter, and loonie, what we call loonie or dollar coin. Those are the four. You can go with any four, okay? So you can, I don't know if you have a $2 coin or if you have pennies, penny, nickel, dime, quarter, whatever. There's another issue, of course, and that is that in some countries, like in Canada, and I know the US, not all quarters look the same, right? So you'll have a bit of that issue too, because there is a switch involved. But let me give you some tips right now. First, when the person reaches in their pocket and grabs a coin, you can say grab one and keep your fist closed and bring your hand out. Now they can feel if it's a penny or a quarter, whatever, and that's fine. But basically they take their hand out and then you can say, okay, show your empty hand, say give it to me. So if they give you a quarter that doesn't perfectly match the quarter you're going to switch or something like that, you're fine. You can say, okay, it's a quarter. You can casually show it. So that's one solution. Another solution is say you're at a bar or you're with friends, school cafeteria, work lunchroom, whatever. Say who's got some change and get a pile of change on the table, okay, or in a glass. Penny, nickel, dime, quarter. Say we're going to try something, and in fact, let's not use any dollar coins. And that's a way of getting those out of the possible effect itself, okay? Couple of tips there. Having said all that, you're going to narrow it down to 4 coins, and you're going to be really pleased with how elegant and kind of so far ahead you are with this method. Let's go down. Here we go. So, this is what you need, okay? You've got 2 envelopes, okay? Now, don't get ahead of me here. This took me a long time to figure out this. It may seem simple, but man, there were a lot of dead ends. $1 and a nickel written on a piece of paper. I have $1 and I have a nickel, okay? And the dates match. This goes in one envelope, okay? Boom, like that. A quarter and a dime written on another piece of paper. I have a quarter and dime, and sorry, these are the 2, okay? And the dates match, okay? That's folded up. And again, you put these on top here. You want to make sure that when you dump them out, they slide smoothly. You don't want them caught in the folds. That's there, like that. Now, all I have to remember is which pocket is which, okay? I know the dime and quarter go here, and the dollar and the nickel go here. So this is where I'm at. So I say to someone, hand me any coin, doesn't matter what it is, back and forth, you can change your mind, and they really have this amazingly fair choice. They hand me a dime, okay? Now, as soon as they take this out, boom, and I see the dime, I now know I need this envelope. If they give me, say, a dollar coin or a nickel, I know it's this envelope over here. Now, I have a perfect excuse to go to my pocket, but remember, I started by saying, and this is important, I made a prediction, I put a coin in an envelope. That's all you have to say. I put a coin in an envelope. Boom. You don't mention anything about the written part. Now, I'm going to go to my pocket. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to say a dime, okay, great, and go to my pocket. Now the trick is just mostly done right there. Because I pretended to take the dime, but I have nothing in my hands. And this is a very, just hold the hand, pretend to take it, and let the right hand casually relax. Now you're going to your pocket with this hand, so don't sweat it. This will take some practice in the mirror, but you're here, you apparently take the dime. Go to your pocket, leave the dime, come out with the envelope. Everything's fair. Open the envelope with one hand. And your motivation here, okay, you could close this down and use your thumb. Your motivation here is you're going to spill out of the envelope the one coin you have in here. But of course what comes out is the switched in dime and the coin. So you've just done a bunch of really cool things. You have invisibly switched out their dime for your own dime. But all under the natural actions of apparently taking the coin in one hand, going to your pocket, opening this up and spilling out your so-called one coin. You did it all there. Trick is done, okay? Love how far ahead you are. You say, look, now you might think by predicting a quarter, you might think my prediction missed, but actually, you can even have someone reach inside. You'll see I predicted that we would end up with a quarter and a dime. Now that's a bit of a head scratcher. It's like, that is weird that he was able to do that, but it doesn't really hit home as a shocking trick, I don't think. It's a beautiful beginning, a nice warm-up, a salad before the steak. The steak, of course, is when you say, well, actually, this was just a warm-up. My real prediction was that I had a sense of which date would be on the one coin you gave me. Take a look. And when people pick those up and see that, and it registers the impossibility of those two matching, that is a very sweet psychic trick.